Hey everyone, welcome to Firescale Audiobooks. If you enjoy the audiobooks, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. If you'd like to support us further, consider becoming a Patreon member. As a member, you'll gain the ability to request the next part of a novel audiobook I've uploaded, depending on your Patreon tier.
Argek. Nathan screamed in pain while holding his right arm. The cracking sound of his bones somehow rang in his ear as his arm had stopped responding to him. If that kind of pain is enough to immobilize you, the alien can easily take you down, Junior. When Noelle was about to jump forward, Fenrir and Anubis surrounded her from two sides. This time, Fenrir struck the blade, stopping its movement for a second. Anubis shot the bandages at her sword. Noelle tilted its body backward to avoid them, but the bandage's true target was actually her sword. Now that both Fenrir and Anubis had gotten a hold of the sword, they slammed it down to the ground. Still, Anubis had only used his bandages. He could still use his mouth to bite Noelle. Sadly for him, Noelle skillfully kicked him from the side, forcing Anubis to use his paw to slap it away. He lost in terms of strength, and was forced to land a bit to the side. Because the sword was planted on the ground, both Fenrir and Anubis had another chance to attack. Noelle had no hesitation in letting go of her sword for a second. After that, she pulled her arm and punched forward, causing a shockwave made of Aina. Whaff! Fenrir barked to neutralize it while Anubis opened his jaw wide. Noelle caught Anubis' neck and tossed him away. However, Fenrir opened a path not only for Anubis but also for Nathan, who succeeded in enduring the pain. He shot Noelle 3 times in rapid succession, but Noelle simply put her arm in the trajectory, the Aina covering her arm acting like a gauntlet. Fenrir bit this arm, but his jaw strength was actually not enough to penetrate this Aina. It felt like there was metal circling around her arm. Noelle's strength was actually enough to pick up her blade, even with Fenrir still attached to her arm. Fenrir used his own body as a weight to push her aim down as she released the same sword strike as earlier. Nathan jumped without Fenrir telling him about it, the sword strike passing right underneath his shoes and hitting the ground, leaving a deep slit hole. N/O/vel/b/in.c/om. Since her attack failed, Noelle shook Fenrir off. Because he refused to let go, she spun her body, swinging Fenrir to Anubis, who was approaching her from behind. They both ended up crashing into each other, leaving an opportunity for Noelle to take down Nathan. To her surprise, the right arm that was supposed to be broken suddenly rose once again, making a shooting motion. Noelle was startled for a moment, but she suddenly noticed that Nathan actually played a little trick. He actually created a bullet in his arm and exploded it. His glove withstood that small burst, but the impact still launched Nathan's hand up. If she took a closer look at it, the aim was slightly above her head, meaning that he failed to measure his Aina correctly. If I have no experience in a battle, I would probably panic for a second and change my decision. Unfortunately for you, Junior, I have seen through your trick. Noelle continued moving as Nathan released that shot. As she expected, the shot missed her head by a small margin. Even Nathan looked frustrated because he missed that shot. Noelle reached Nathan and swung her blade. Nathan actually used the falling motion of his hand to attack Noelle for one last time. He used the deadly claw on that hand so that Noelle had no choice but to stop. Sadly for him, the deadly claw shattered into pieces as it hit Noelle's blade. At the very least, Nathan managed to stop her from swinging that sword, albeit it wouldn't change the outcome. Noelle kicked Nathan. He received it with his left hand, but it just dislocated 2 of his fingers and blew him away. Gah! Nathan coughed up blood as his back hit a tree. He dropped on his butt while groaning in pain. KH. Fenrir and Anubis were trying to catch up but they were too late. Noelle had reached Nathan first and placed her sword on his neck. It seems this is the end of our battle, Junior. Nathan smirked. Before that, can I ask you something? Noelle thought even if Nathan tried to buy time, there was nothing he could do. Even the 2 beasts couldn't actually move because this was the end. Hence, Noelle nodded her head. What is it? You should have held back quite a lot, right? Even though you are using all your techniques, the amount of ana and physical strength you exert don't truly reflect your current situation, right? How much stronger are you in your full strength? 10 times, perhaps. Without your familiars? Yeah. Nathan couldn't help but smile. I see. You're strong, Junior. I'm sure that you will get stronger from now on. However, you are too full of yourself. Experience this setback so that you understand the meaning of losing. It's much better than losing against a real alien. Lose? Nathan chuckled. What's funny? Nathan smirked, still filled with confidence. Nah, I'd win. Noelle's eyebrows twitched. Nathan's confidence, despite the clear result, was indeed disappointing. Noelle waved her sword down while saying, It seems that I have misjudged you, Junior. It's a bit disappointing, but this is farewell. Suddenly, Noelle's instinct picked up a presence on the right side. She stopped her swing and placed the sword next to her. The wave of ana that struck her sword somehow exploded upon impact. Bam! Even Nathan could feel the shock wave produced by that burst of ana. Moreover, that attack actually pushed Noelle back. Even though she wasn't prepared for that attack, Noelle was still much stronger than any freshman. Nathan and Noelle turned their heads to see who actually produced such an attack. Nathan's heart sank when he saw Selena walking with a dark expression, her eyes emitting bloodlust as though she was determined to kill Noelle. When I have forgotten what it's like to be loved, what it's like to have someone care for you, you are there. Just like my father, you have helped me, given me hope, and told me not to give up. That's why we have to regroup and tackle this competition together. Numerous pictures appeared in her mind. It started from her smiling face as her father hugged her and encouraged her, then turned to the dark, lonely night she had to spend in the mansion after he was gone. And in that suffocating room, there was a man stretching his hand to her. He kept playing with his words, giving one argument after another that made her unable to reject his help. That kindness of his somehow restored the feeling that she had long forsaken, the smile she had lost, and the warmth she had forgotten. At the same time, she didn't like the fact that her debt continued increasing. She wanted to repay him, so when the battle royale came, she thought it would be a good idea to work together again. Just like what happened in Tevlin Forest, they would dominate the battle royale this time. Nathan's name would become famous, and he wouldn't disappoint his teacher. It wasn't enough, but this was the best she could do to repay him. This was Selena's thought as she crossed the forest, only to find the person who had given her hope ended up half dead. There was a woman swinging her blade at him. She knew that dying here meant nothing, since they would just return to reality. However, her heart sank because it reminded her of her father. What if Noelle killed Nathan, but he would never come back? Would she lose him like she lost her father? When that thought appeared in her mind, all the bright pictures in her mind shattered into pieces like broken glasses. What if Noelle actually took Nathan away from her forever? No. She didn't want that. That horrifying feeling was suffocating. She didn't want to experience it again, not on her watch. She shot a sphere with chaotic ana flow toward her, not realizing that this was the first time she used the ability this fast. Noelle noticed at the last moment, blocking her attack with her sword. However, the overwhelming turbulent flow caused a powerful force that knocked her back. You want to hurt him? You want to take him away from me? I'll kill you. Kill. 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 Selena's killing intent became uncontrollable, as it was leaking out of her eyes. Even Risa and Sasha were startled by such a powerful reaction from Selena. The Selena they knew was calmer and devoid of emotion. At the same time, this was the exact reason Risa could trust Nathan back in Tevlin Forest. Since Selena was raring to go, Risa chose to put everything she had in this battle. For the sake of her future, they had to defeat Noelle. Seeing Risa's reaction, Sasha's expression turned solemn. Nathan was a strong individual, but his opponent was much more powerful to be able to crush him so easily. They might die, but even if they had to sacrifice their lives, they had to win. Noelle examined them. She didn't understand the hostility, so she treated them like another random student. So you are another opponent. It doesn't really matter. No matter how many people are coming, I'll stick to my duty, which is to stop all the students passing here. Selena released her Aina, which was much more enormous than Nathan. Risa raised her stance, blood swirling on top of her palms. Sasha cracked her fingers as if she wanted to slice Noelle into pieces with her talon-like hands. Noelle also noticed that Fenrir and Anubis joined the fight. With this development, she couldn't really say Nathan was out yet. Anubis summoned the bandages while Fenrir covered his paw with Aina. Getting surrounded, huh? I guess 5 versus 1 is still possible in this condition. I just have to pay more attention to those two beasts, since the bet is still on because of this development. And I have to create an opening to kill him. One more strike will be enough to defeat him. Noelle thought. Like what happened previously, she was so distracted by Selena that she only realized the incoming Aina at the last second. She tried to tilt her body, but it was too late. 4 bullets were fired. She managed to avoid the one coming for her head, but the other 3 bullets hit her right ankle, her left arm, and her left thigh respectively. Both Selena and Noelle sucked a cold breath, seeing Nathan standing as if nothing was wrong. You. Noelle shuddered in fear as she realized what was happening in the first place. Were you faking your injury? They were not fake. It was painful, but I've recovered. NOVLB //JNN. So you were buying time to recover? Nathan replied with a smirk. Noelle realized that the situation might be much worse than this if Selena didn't come. If he had recovered at that last second, Anubis could still use his bandage to stall her swing for a second. She had lowered her guard when she misunderstood his confidence. If he actually shot her at that time, while she had confidence she wouldn't die, she would still be severely injured. The broken bone had been healed, the dislocated fingers had returned to normal, and his body functioned normally. What Nathan wanted to create was a situation where he was about to be defeated. It was impossible for him to defeat Noelle, who was on guard even if she had given him enough handicap. The gap between them was simply too big. That was why he tried to lower her guard by injuring himself. Fenrir grinned his teeth, as if knowing what Nathan was saying in his mind. It was her fault for misunderstanding. Anubis gasped because everything actually worked like Fenrir had taught him previously. Nathan had this situation in mind from the beginning. While inserting his left hand into the pocket and making a gun signal, he said, I told you earlier that I'd win. Yes. Kill her. Vivian pumped her fists after seeing the bullets piercing her body. It's a shame that his power is not enough to pierce through that arm and the body in rapid succession due to the amount of Aina protecting her body. Flora blinked her eyes a few times before complaining, what is this? Are you going to lose, Noelle? If you lose, I will be in a lot of trouble. That guy is amazing, so you have to defeat him before he turns his whole class into his enemy. Jason scratched the back of his head, wanting to tell them to watch other students' performances as well, but he was too scared to do it. He could only resign to his fate and watch those students in their stead. I told you earlier that I'd win. Selena, Risa, and Sasha widened their eyes in shock. They were ready to fight because they had to help him, but it turned out the situation was under his control. No, it could be said that they had just helped Noelle. Are you all right? Selena looked worried, but Nathan only waved his hand, his focus never leaving Noelle. There was a chance that Noelle would attack again after getting outsmarted by him. It turned out I was tricked by you. Noelle sighed. Her expression was dark because she knew the situation should be much worse. Nathan smiled. In that case, I wonder if you'd like to hear a suggestion of mine. Since you have managed to injure me, I shall hear it. In the first place, I fight you with the intention of winning. Hence, I hope that you can send one of your familiars to bring her to the goal. If you do that, I'll properly defeat you. Defeating me? Noelle's eyebrows twitched. Nathan. Selena didn't expect that Nathan actually demanded the upperclassman do something for her. Noelle smiled. Because you're the one requesting it, I'll accept this proposal. Come forth. Noelle stomped the ground as a black flame appeared behind her. The flame flared up as a knight clad in black armor appeared with his horse. The knight had no head, with his left hand carrying his helmet. His right hand was holding a long spine, as if it were a whip. A Dullahan. Nathan felt chills down his spine. The knight gave him the feeling of death. Even Anubis was alarmed. If he had his divinity that judged the dead, he would be fine, but his current power wouldn't work against a Dullahan. I can fight together with you. Selena refused to accept such a thing. However, Nathan simply said, the one waiting on the finish line is Prince Rudius. Judging by how he stopped us from forming an alliance, he must have at least a third of the entire class to support him. If you don't take this opportunity, the moment we go there, we'll only forfeit our own headbands. That's why you have to go there with the Dullahan. This is the only way for you to win. I'll be coming after defeating her. What? You don't believe me? Nathan asked. Selena couldn't refute his words. It was as he said. Nathan's plan would have succeeded if he didn't take too much time here, but because it had failed, he had just to switch his plan. If Selena refused any further, it showed that she didn't trust him, even after everything they experienced together. This is not fair. Selena bit her lips. Complain about that later. Technically, she is an alien, and no alien will wait for us to finish our discussion like this. If you take longer than this, you are just making me feel bad for her. Selena clenched her fists. There were a lot of words she wanted to say, but that would just cause more trouble for him. I'll be waiting for you then. Selena's expression turned solemn. She knew that no matter how Nathan twisted it, it was impossible for him to kill Noelle, and he was just acting tough. When Selena was gone, Noelle said, "Why do you lie, Junior? You should know that in your current condition, you are unable to defeat me. Do you like her or something? It seems that even after proving myself a few times, you still don't believe that I can defeat you. I guess I have to kill you first so that you can understand." Nathan raised his hand, ready to continue the fight. I have underestimated you, Junior. Noelle took a deep breath. Now that I have lost the bet, there is no point in continuing this match. In that case, I'll defeat you right away. I'm planning to do the same. I'll defeat you and go to the goal. Nathan smiled, still feeling confident. Noelle decided to stop holding back. A figure suddenly appeared behind her. Both Anubis and Fenrir immediately leaped away, gaining some distance so they could react. Little did they know, it was a mistake. What she summoned was none other than full-body armor. It looked like a spirit controlled this armor, making it a living armor. More importantly, she took this opportunity to equip the armor. Yes, the armor detached themselves from each other and enveloped Noelle's body. This time, she looked like a proper knight with full-body armor. The aura she exuded became more ominous to the point where Fenrir and Anubis instinctively stood in front of Nathan to protect him. They had never thought that it was actually possible for a human to combine with their familiar. Still, considering the type of familiar he had, it was indeed possible. A pair of bloodshot eyes flashed behind the small slit of the helmet. Yet amidst the overwhelming transformation, Nathan couldn't let go of his priority. What is this? A full-body armor. Are you kidding me? Don't you know that bikini armor has the highest defense? Huh? Anubis dropped his jaw as if he couldn't believe what he had just heard from his summoner. Fenrir's expression darkened, his eyebrows twitching. Sadly, he could only say, ignore him. His horniness is a chronic disease. If only he didn't have that, he would have been a perfect summoner, n/o/vel/b/jn.c/om. There was a rising tension between Nathan and Noelle. As someone who was a knight, she was well versed in a head-on confrontation. Meanwhile, Nathan knew he had to outsmart her somehow in this type of fight. She didn't understand what Nathan said earlier, but there was nothing left to discuss in this battle. Avoid it! Fenrir shouted. Nathan and Fenrir leaped to the left while Anubis went in the opposite direction as Noelle swung her blade downward, releasing a sword strike that separated those three. Since Anubis was alone, Noelle immediately charged toward him. Grr! Fenrir gnashed his teeth, ready to help Anubis. To his surprise, Nathan stopped him by saying, "Fenrir, I'm sorry, but I have a ridiculous request." Fenrir was slightly startled by the request, but he realized that was their only way to defeat Noelle in this state. Noelle swung her blade at Anubis. The latter managed to block the direct attack with both paws, but the power still launched him away. Noelle hurriedly chased after Anubis to deliver a killing blow, as a bullet hit her armor from behind. Unfortunately, the armor was sturdy enough to block it, and with her being fully covered, Nathan's attack was not effective anymore. Still, Fenrir caught up to her, forcing Noelle to turn around. Noelle wanted to cut Fenrir down, but a pair of bandages suddenly wrapped around her blade, stopping it for a second. Fenrir struck her chest with a torrential aina on his paw. The aina burst, knocking Noelle to the ground. Still, it only left a scratch on the armor despite Fenrir using his full strength to break it. When she fell down, Noelle kicked Fenrir from below, gaining some time to stand up. Yet the first thing she did was turn around and block Anubis' paws with her blade. While the armor increased her defense, it also restricted her movement a bit. Both beasts understood it and tried to pin her to the ground. If you think it's that easy, then try it. Flamandi sword style, fire star. A fire burst on her sword, burning away the bandage. She then waved her sword 5 times in rapid succession, as the burst flew in 5 directions like a star. Anubis was forced back, his paws getting covered with a scorch mark. But Fenrir slapped this attack with his paw. It didn't matter if the flame burned his paw as long as he could use his paws to knock the blade down. Noelle was taken aback. She hurriedly turned around and swung her blade at Fenrir, but the latter had reached her first. Even with his paw burning, Fenrir struck Noelle in the same spot. It's useless. You won't be able to break through this armor, thought Noelle as she raised her blade. Fenrir's eyes flashed, not planning to back down this time. Noelle trembled for a split second as if she saw a monstrous wolf within Fenrir. The wolf that was known as the monstrous wolf of Asgard. He gathered every bit of his strength into his other paw and struck her. Don't underestimate me, human. I am Fenrir, n/o/vel/b/jn.c/om. Crack. Noelle widened her eyes. While the living armor wasn't a high-level familiar, and she usually reinforced it with her own aina, it was still sturdy enough to stop a minotaur's attack. Yet Fenrir could break the armor in her chest area. While Noelle was shocked by Fenrir's ability, she still clenched her sword tighter as she slashed downward, cutting Fenrir in 2. Nathan jumped forward. Now that her sword was down, this was the best chance to attack. Why did he come? Noelle thought the best option to attack was shooting her in the chest, so she was planning to conjure a shield to block it. But Nathan had thought 2 moves ahead and came in with the deadly claw. With the amount of aina she currently controlled, it was not enough to actually stop the deadly claw. The shield manifested at the last second. Their collision ended up shattering each other. However, Nathan was not out of trick. He had only used his left hand earlier, so he could still utilize the deadly claw with the other hand. This time, Noelle couldn't form another barrier. Don't underestimate me, Junior. She was shouting inwardly as she overstrained her muscle to swing upward one more time. HAAA. Nathan widened his eyes in shock because Noelle actually managed to cut his right arm at the last second. The excruciating pain made him scream. Ag! Little did she know, Nathan wanted her to focus on the fake attack coming from his right hand. Meanwhile, his left hand moved to his back, hiding the real attack. I know you are strong and will surpass your limit. That's why. Nathan smiled inwardly as four bullets manifested on his left hand. His bullets couldn't curve, so there was only one trajectory in his mind. Those bullets pierced through his body and hit Noelle's body, specifically the hole that Fenrir created earlier. Noelle widened her eyes in shock. Because she used her armor, she didn't put as much Aina to protect her body anymore, which meant that the exposed part was vulnerable. With a sharp angle of attack, the bullets went through Nathan's stomach and ultimately hit her heart. Noelle spat a mouthful of blood, realizing Nathan's plan. He could recover from such a wound. While he might not be daring enough to do it in real life, he still wanted to test it in this trial since he wouldn't die if he messed up. And the result was beyond his imagination. Anubis hurriedly healed him as Nathan jumped backward. With enough time, Noelle would definitely die. Unfortunately, he miscalculated one thing. Noelle suddenly let go of her blade and grabbed Nathan's collar. She used the last bit of her strength to cause a burst of Aina that blew up his neck while saying, "An alien won't go down just like that. You have to make sure they die, Junior." Nathan could only look at her with eyes wide open. Noelle might blame the alien, but it was definitely her tenacity as a knight that made her do it. And it cost him his victory. Damn it. This world is freaking too hard, Nathan cursed inwardly as he laid down on a grass field while staring at the blue sky. Nathan knew nothing had gone according to plan this whole time. Whether it was when Raven didn't follow the script of an arrogant young master, or his father didn't come for his life, or Anubis appearing instead of Sun Wukong, or even Selena interfering in the duel between him and Noelle, they all messed up his plan. While Nathan made some joking remarks about them or even cursing them, he blamed no one. When Anubis appeared, he came up with a plan that utilized Anubis' healing ability instead of Sun Wukong's martial prowess. He created a strategy that drew out their unique potential. He had done everything he could just to make everything work, yet he still failed. If there was someone who was more frustrated than others, it was probably Nathan. Fenrir might have noticed that frustration, so he didn't complain when Nathan asked for such a ridiculous request. Anubis and Fenrir appeared next to him. It seems that it doesn't work. You suck. Fenrir harumphed, teasing Nathan. What did you say? Nathan's eyebrows twitched as he couldn't help but rise from the ground like he wanted to fight Fenrir. But it was clear Nathan cheered up a bit. Anubis asked, Summoner. Why are you not using your soul contract? If we use the soul contract to exchange our abilities, we could actually win against her. For example, if we sneakily exchange that deadly claw with my bandages, we could surprise her. I can even be a bait for Fenrir to actually use my healing ability. If it's a life and death battle, I might do it. However, there are people watching that fight. Unless necessary, I don't want to show that ability, at least for now. Nathan shook his head. Anubis nodded. I can finally understand what kind of person you are. That's why I shall trust your decision from now on. Thank you. Even though he lost, he still got Anubis recognition, which made him quite happy. After a few minutes, Noelle visited him. To his surprise, the first thing she did was actually bow her head to Nathan. What are you doing? Please raise your head. Nathan took a step back. He certainly couldn't understand this person. On the one hand, she looked like she did everything by instinct. On the other hand, she acted rationally from time to time. I'd like to thank you and apologize at the same time. Noelle paused for a moment. I'd fought you unfairly. Despite limiting myself to 10% of my power, I still ended up using my spirit's element to free my sword from the bandages. It was on impulse, but I had wronged you. For that, I'd like to apologize. Nathan frowned. Can summoners actually use the same ability as our familiars? Well, yes. Noelle scratched the back of her head. Normally, you'll learn about this in your second year, but I guess I can tell you a thing or two because you won't recklessly attempt it. You are aware of the link between you and your familiar, right? Noelle glanced at the two beasts next to him. I do. Once you have more Aina, you will naturally realize that the link allows you to transfer your power to one another. It's a complicated system that will take a few days if I have to explain everything. N/O/vel/b/in.c/in.com. But to put it simply, you will probably need much more Aina before attempting it. The requirement to achieve it is also varied because it depends on your compatibility with such power. My flame, for example, I have to endure the scorching sensation during my entire second year before I'm able to use it. Well, I admit that I play too much with it, that I instinctively relied on it in our fight. For magic, you will probably need to learn the whole power system from the basics. Once you reach that level, it's the same as slowing down your progress. Or you might even need to learn an entirely new language. You must remember the language that the Divine Spirit chanted to produce this place, right? The Phyrexia Academy has been compiling things that they have found to be compatible with most humans, and will allow you to progress without slowing down. However, if you still wish to learn it, I suggest you get more Aina first. Nathan rubbed his chin as he fell into deep thought. He might be able to use Anubis power in the open, and no one would find it weird about it. But to do it, he needed a lot of Aina. If he sacrificed his time for all that Aina instead of boosting Anubis and Fenrir's power, it would also slow down his progress. As Noelle said, it was indeed a complex system. I see. Thank you for explaining it to me. Noelle nodded. I'd like to thank you for showing me my weakness. I have been fighting my enemies head-on, but after fighting you, I noticed that I have been too close-minded. I thought using dirt to blind my opponent was the limit of a cheap trick I could do, but after fighting you, I realized it could allow you to fight an opponent much stronger than you. Nathan smiled wryly, not knowing whether it was a compliment or an insult. Won't why your knight's pride feel repugnant to cheap tricks? Of course, there are limits to what extent I'd get to bring down my opponent. For example, I don't want to poison my enemy. However, trash-talking or tricks are not included. It's just a variety of ways to utilize one's ability. I see. Noelle raised her index finger. Anyway, I'm planning to take on a mission of a mature class symbiote. I hope you can go with me, Junior. If you have questions, you can ask me. At that time. Sounds good. I'll be learning a lot from you. What is your name? Nathan. I am Noelle Flamanti. I'll pick you up in 3 days. Or do you need more time to prepare? No. That sounds good. In that case, let us meet again in 3 days. Noelle nodded, her serious expression melted into a smile, showing how happy she was. Nathan accepted the request. While watching Noelle leave, Nathan was impressed. Despite being that strong, Noelle was ready to lower her head and learn new things. I guess losing is not too bad at all. Don't forget about that vampire girl. I feel like she is a crazy human. Fenrir interjected. From behind. Nathan couldn't help but feel chills down his spine. Still, now that we are left alone here, what should we do? Asked Nathan, while looking around. As if responding to his question, a root suddenly emerged from the ground as the dryad appeared in front of Nathan. Both Fenrir and Anubis were alarmed, but lowered their guards when they realized it was Vivian's familiar. This was the first time he saw a dryad up close. She had a humanoid body, even though a part of her body had to be connected to a tree part for her to manifest, in this case, her feet. She covered her body with vines and leaves, which gave a different type of allure. Dryad was known for their ability to manipulate one's mental state. And he certainly could feel it even without her ability, Nathan jokingly thought. Congratulations on winning 300 points. Is there anything you'd like to exchange? Nathan raised his eyebrows. Did it count as me killing her? Yes. She tried to patch her injury with her Aina, but it was too much. If she broke her own rule and released more Aina, she could probably suppress the injury for a longer period, but because she kept her code, her body was unable to continue. It seemed she persisted that long because she wanted to fulfill her agreement with you. Although you didn't manage to bring the headbands to the finish line, you still managed to kill an alien. Hence, you are rewarded with 300 points. But don't I need to go to the hut to exchange things? Nathan frowned. What hut? I'm the hut. The Dryad shrugged before whispering, just treat it as me recognizing you as the mistress disciple. Everyone can receive some resources from their supporters, so can you. Here is the list. The Dryad waved her hand, summoning a mirror that showed a list of items. He got 300 points from killing Noel. It was equal to 3 people with the red headbands or 30 people with the white headbands. It could be said that he had gotten more points than anyone in the class except if they managed to defeat an upperclassman and reach the hut. That was why, before picking up an item, he asked, "Can I know how the others are doing?" If you are talking about the girl, she makes it to the finish line, n/o/vel/b/in.c//om. I mean, I want to know the entire situation, especially those top 3 people. Nathan shook his head helplessly. The Dryad snapped her fingers and showed a mirror that reflected the current situation. Rudius had passed through Reginar Loe thanks to his team. As a result, he stopped anyone from reaching the hut so that he and 8 other people could monopolize the ranking. On the other hand, August came with another student, trying to break through. The situation looked bleak at the start, as August was outnumbered. In fact, one of his teammates turned out to be a traitor, who stabbed him in the stomach. If not for it, August would have put more pressure on Rudius. But when the battle was about to end, Selena came with the Dullahan, breaking through Rudius' group. It also gave them a chance to reach the hut. Rudius was shocked by the sudden appearance of Dullahan, and chose to reach the hut before the unknown variable messed up his plan even more. Meanwhile, the last person to have the red headband was actually defeated by the person who summoned a werewolf and took advantage of the chaos to submit the headbands. And it seemed that Raven played a huge role in that strategy. He is your enemy, right? The mistress has asked me to keep an eye on him. Nathan understood the situation. It was surprising that Noelle not only fulfilled her promise, but did something beyond his imagination. She must have realized she might actually lose if Selena didn't interfere, so instead of Nathan working together with Selena, she asked the Dullahan to support her. Meanwhile, no one seemed to have defeated an upperclassman. Due to the size of the garden, it's hard to encounter the upperclassmen. What we're doing here is a psychological attack that makes them hesitant. They need an understanding of their situation and possess the ability to quickly think of a solution. All of these are necessary if you venture to the front line. Indeed. Nathan nodded in understanding. He took another look at the list before frowning. Is there something wrong? The Dryad tilted her head in confusion. The list was already pretty generous. A protoclass core only costs 0.5 point after all. There is something I would like, but I don't know if I can ask you or not. I will hear it first. Nathan came closer and whispered an item to her, which actually shocked her to the core. Do you think it's possible? I don't know. I will ask the person in question first. If not, you can trade it for something else. All right. Thank you. Nathan smiled, satisfied. The battle royale should end in about 10 to 15 minutes. After that, I'll teleport everyone back. You can take a rest here for the time being. Got it. Nathan waved his hand, watching the Dryad disappear together with the root. What a beautiful sister, an elf, a druid, a spirit, and a Dryad. What else does teacher have? Rather than that, there is one thing you need to do now, brat. Fenrir finally broke his silence. Huh? What? We are done here. You are the witness of the bet between me and this dog. Fenrir pointed at Anubis. I contributed more than him, so he will become a dog for the next 7 days. What? You were lucky that he didn't use the soul contract. Or else I would contribute more. Anubis gnashed his teeth. That was what a sore loser said. Just accept your defeat. Fenrir harumphed. Before Anubis could speak another word, Nathan patted his back as if implying that he supported Fenrir's decision. Anubis opened his mouth wide as if he had been betrayed. Fenrir wanted to laugh, but Nathan's hand closed his mouth forcefully. With a stern tone, Nathan said, since Anubis will be acting like a dog for the next 7 days, it means that I'll be protecting him with all my might. If he ever receives an injury, you won't call me Nathan anymore. You are to call me Mr. Wick. Selena, August and Ridius were sitting inside the hut, picking their own items to exchange. Selena was waiting for Nathan, wondering when he would come. August and Ridius were wary of each other. At the same time, they also wondered where Nathan was. Nathan should be quite strong if he was able to get to the top 3 on the previous trip, so it would be weird if he wasn't here. However, the result was clear the moment they heard an announcement coming from the sky. The battle royale has ended. 13 people have passed the battle royale and reached the hut. You are given 30 minutes to choose what to exchange before getting teleported back to the hall. All of them widened their eyes in shock. Nathan actually failed. While it was true that even among the top 10, only half of them reached the hut, they didn't expect Nathan to fail. Selena was shaken by that news. In her head, she was the reason for Nathan to fail. If she were there to help him, the situation would have been much different. Yet not only did she receive the help from the Dullahan, but Nathan wasn't here. A rather weird reaction from Selena, thought Ridius as he observed everyone in the room. It seemed Selena had met Nathan in the competition. August didn't think much about it because he had gotten a worse rank than he originally intended. All of them were choosing the items they thought were most appropriate for their growth. Meanwhile, only Selena couldn't decide what she wanted. On the one hand, there was an item that could help her. On the other hand, she had to apologize to Nathan. That was why Selena actually chose to spend all her points to get as many protoclass cores as possible so that she could share it with Nathan. This was the only thing she could do to apologize. After receiving their respective reward, they were sent back to the hall, of course, their original position. In other words, Selena immediately met Nathan. Selena grabbed Nathan's hand in panic, trying to explain it to him. However, Nathan put his finger in front of his lips as if implying to remain quiet. He then pointed to the stage as Vivian, Jason, and the student council lined up. You've worked hard, students. I hope that you are satisfied with the reward you receive this time. This is the result of your effort, strategy, strength, and luck. Realize what you are lacking and make an improvement in that area if you want to get stronger. Take one step at a time because that's how to get stronger. From now on, the curriculum for the first year will change. You are now allowed to leave the academy. Just like this battle royale, you will find not only aliens but humans in your path, and they might not necessarily be your allies. If you die this time, no one will help you. That's why I hope you can take this result into your heart and continue to grow. All the classes are now open to you. You are able to train in all 4 departments, theory classes or solo training. Adjust your schedule to yourself. If you wish to take on a mission to get resources, you are to visit the public hall. People all over the world have requested our help because we are the Phyrexia Academy. After picking your mission, go to Jason to receive his permission. That is all. I hope that all of you are able to advance to the 2nd year. Vivian snapped her finger. A giant rectangular mirror appeared in front of them, showing the result of this battle royale. The people were quite shocked because some people who were at the bottom managed to reach the goal. The one who took the first place was none other than Prince Ridius. Surprisingly, Selena got second place this time. The Dullahan killed everyone in her path, allowing her to grab their headbands. She thought she would share the loot with Nathan later, but it turned out Nathan failed to reach the goal. In addition, several names appeared on top of August who only ranked 6th. If not for the betrayal, he would have gotten a higher rank, but this was what could happen in the real world, as Vivian said. Nathan raised his eyebrows when he noticed Raven's name among the top 10. Then again, he wasn't worried that much since the Dryad was keeping an eye on him. Nevertheless, the reaction from other students was wild, especially when they saw Nathan was not among the people that reached the hut. Did he die? I guess he was just lucky last time. Indeed. He might receive Selena's help in the Tevlin forest. He is nothing compared to those top students. Ha ha ha. He is running out of luck. n/o/vel/b/in.c//om. Nathan had expected this, so his expression remained calm. Even though these people managed to reach the end, even with the additional points for reaching the hut, none of them actually got higher than 300 points. In other words, if Nathan had just reached the hut, he would have been number 1. August squinted his eyes, thinking, should I recruit him to my faction? We both are strong, and with the same goal, I don't have to worry about him betraying me. A similar thought appeared in Rydia's mind. This is the perfect time to recruit him. He is currently at rock bottom, so if I stop these people from badmouthing him, he will be grateful to me. Selena clenched her hands into fists. She never thought she would be this annoyed when people badmouthed him. The only one who knew what Nathan was capable of was her. When Selena was about to rise from her seat to explain, Flora reached their seat without anyone realizing it. She made a sly grin while asking, Student Nathan, I'm impressed by your battle, so as the student council president, I'd like to invite you to become a part of our student council. Would you like to join the student council? All people dropped their jaws, including Selena and Rydius. What? Did I hear it wrong? He was invited to the student council. What did he do? He couldn't even reach the hut. Is it only because his familiars are different from other people? The people uttered their shock before complaining. No matter how unique Nathan was, he wasn't fit for the student council. August had to change his opinion about Nathan. What did he do? I don't think the student council will pick him up just based on his unique familiar. Does that mean he has done something so special that the student council president has decided to invite him? Rydius gulped down. Why does she invite him so openly? Is she trying to send me a message that because he is still a citizen of the Azelia Kingdom, I shouldn't have any thoughts about him? Is this a warning? More importantly, how can he join the student council before me? The people were complaining about the decision. Even the vice president, Axel Lauderl, couldn't help but ask out loud from the stage. President Flora. I don't think it's appropriate. Could you share with us what he has done to garner a seat in the student council? While I don't want to diminish his achievement or strength, the student council is for elites among elites. The people fell silent, wanting to know the answer. Flora glanced at Noel first before stating, he killed Noel. Is this reason good enough, Vice President Axel? Noel. Axel's body shuddered. What? An upperclassman? No way. The students didn't believe it. There was no way they could defeat an upperclassman, especially the members of the student council. She must be limiting herself. That's right. She must be fighting with a handicap, or let him win. Was he that lucky? If I fought her, I would have gotten that as well. Yeah. There was no way he could defeat the strongest person in the school. Shut up. Axel stomped the ground, letting a burst of Aina. The shockwave silenced the students, allowing Axel to confirm one thing. When she sensed his gaze, Noel said, I'm sorry for shaming the student council's name, to think that I would end up using my fire star subconsciously. Axel became even more shocked. He tried his best to calm down, but he still stuttered when replying to Flora. I see. While fixing his glasses, Reginar said, among all of us, there is one person you don't want to offend, both because of her strength, but also her personality. If people claim there is someone in the student council who doesn't know how to hold back, it will be Noel. It's true that all of us here limit our strength. However, Noel remains the strongest. I don't know how he achieves it, but if he has indeed defeated Noel, I don't have any qualms about him joining the student council. The other members agreed with his analysis. It was apparent from Axel that what Reginar said was true. n/o/vel/b/in.c/om. KH. Rudius gritted his teeth. After listening to Reginar's analysis, he glared at Flora as if realizing her warning. Flora was indirectly saying, touch him if you dare, to him. Selena looked down. She had never thought Nathan was that amazing. While she believed she was stronger than Nathan, Nathan's true strength was his unorthodox method and familiars. Unless she knew him completely, it would be impossible for her to defeat him. Meanwhile, Nathan considered the invitation a challenge. The fact that she invited him meant he would garner even more attention from now on. There were a lot of people that wanted to join the student council. He would become their target if he joined, especially when the restriction was lifted in 4.5 months. Nathan closed his eyes for a moment before politely rejecting her offer. I'm honored that you think highly of me. However, I don't think that my skill has reached the level you desire. I'm also severely lacking in everything, whether it's knowledge or skills. Before he could confirm the rejection, Flora added, no need to be in a hurry to reject me. You are welcome to see how the student council usually operates. So for now, I hope you can consider it carefully and see the student council first before making a decision. If he kept rejecting her, a princess as well as the student council president, it would be too rude. There must be a lot of people that wanted to beat him up if he did that just so that they got Flora's favor. Nathan sighed inwardly. I understand. I thank you for the opportunity. Once I feel myself worthy enough, I'll visit the student council. Flora nodded, satisfied. Jason coughed loudly to gather their attention back. Anyway, we have concluded today's battle royale. You are free to leave. If any of you wish to take on a mission or do something else, you are free to report to me in the morning. I'll be staying either in the class or the teacher room. Dismissed. The people were still shocked by Flora's invitation. Only Selena, who was next to him, could speak to him. She whispered, I'm sorry. Nathan stopped her with a shake on the head. How about teaching me that explosive Aina? I feel like it'll allow me to get stronger. This is not for an apology. Instead, you can think of it as a favor from that time, the test answers. Selena understood the subtle intention. He had never blamed her. By teaching him, she would also understand Nathan a bit more, especially that unique way of thinking. In other words, just being close to him would make her stronger. That was why Selena nodded her head. I understand. In that case, how about tomorrow morning? The magic department is free to use, right? Yes. I'll meet you there. Anyway, do you have a way of leaving now? These glares are killing me. Selena also noticed the curious or envious glares of other students. Even though she was embarrassed, she grabbed Nathan's arm and dragged him out. Comment. Rudius and Flora were facing each other in the corridor. Rudius raised his voice, asking, What are you doing, Flora? What am I doing? I don't know why you're asking me this question. I'm standing in front of you, replied Flora in a playful tone. You know what I'm talking about. Do you think I'm oblivious to your message when you recruit him to the student council in front of everyone? Oh my. Flora grinned. He is a citizen of the Azelia Kingdom. As the representative of the kingdom, I have to take care of my own people, right? Don't tell me, does the Liaistien kingdom plan to snatch my people? Your people? I discovered him first. He gnashed his teeth. And yet you did nothing. This is the difference between us. You can scheme however you want, but that's the reason for your slow speed. The Azelia kingdom chooses to be decisive when making a decision. You. Rydia's breathing became rough as he had a hard time to calm down. Nathan's value had just skyrocketed the moment he defeated Noel. No matter what they said, Nathan had both the uniqueness and the strength to join the student council. Connection and wealth were something he could build from now on. Flora started walking as she said, "We both are royalties. We know that no matter how good a sovereign can be, they still need to be calculative and have the necessary ruthlessness. You can play to be the best all you want, but in the end, strength reigns supreme. Besides, I'm not the one who you should be worried about. If you are going to play your scheme against him, I might not even need to play my cards. Just remember that humanity is under an alliance in order to fight those aliens. However, it doesn't mean that we have to play nice with each other. You can focus on that petty rivalry of yours with that successor of the Blacksmith Guild. I'll take care of Selena Ashton and Nathan. They are my subjects after all." Rydia's body was twitching, and his body was distorted. What was more frustrating was that he couldn't even reply to a single word she said. August sat down alone in his room, remembering everything that happened during the day. NOVLB //JNN. He still remembered how Selena dragged Nathan away. It was clear that no one could approach him like this. At the same time, he had heard about Selena's relationship with her family. It meant that while Nathan and Selena were friends, Selena couldn't afford to give him anything. In that case, his method was simple. Unlike Rydius, who had to fight against Flora, the Blacksmith Guild was a neutral faction. That was why the first thing he did after sorting his thoughts was write a letter to home. As everyone expected, Nathan used the favor so that Serena would teach him. Due to the invitation, he would probably get flocked by a lot of people. The only way for him to escape from them was training with Selena. If Selena was displeased, they would think that Nathan would feel the same. That was why they had to be careful when approaching him. Besides, Selena was more well-versed in politics compared to him. If they approached him with hideous intention, Selena should be able to realize it and warn him. Of course, it didn't change the fact that he intended to learn the explosive Aina from Selena. It would be a great addition to his current fighting power. "Is this how you do it?" Nathan asked while forming a sphere with his Aina. The flow was much more violent than what he usually produced when making a bullet. "No. If you do it that way, it'll dissolve." Selena couldn't even finish her words before the sphere vanished. Nathan scratched the back of his head. "I guess it's not working yet. I believe you can learn it quickly. What you were doing wrong earlier is that you pour out your Aina slightly too late, which causes the flow in one direction to be stronger and neutralize everything. You do it like this." Selena gave another demonstration. Unlike his sphere that went berserk from the start, Selena created a rather stable flow that gradually turned violent. Nathan thought for a moment. "So we start with the stable flow first?" "Yes. You have to maintain that state when you release them. They still need to travel for a certain distance after all." "No. I'm just thinking if I can change the flow a bit. While it remains stable, I want to put a bit more spin into it so that the penetrative force increases." "That's..." Selena crossed her arms. "I think it's possible. Something like this." Selena raised her hand, forming the sphere again. But after applying more spin, the sphere gradually elongated. "What? You can do that right away. It's not hard." Selena tilted her head in confusion. Nathan's eyebrows twitched, wondering if she actually didn't realize she was talented at manipulating Aina. While they were talking, Noel suddenly came to the magic department, startling the students in the class. "You are Noel Flamanti from the 3rd year, right?" What are you doing here? This is the class for the first year. The teacher stood on her way, his words gathering the attention of all 5 people in the magic department. Is that Noelle Flamanti? Why is she here? Is she coming for Nathan? Maybe something like revenge? The students were observing her closely. Noelle took out a paper for the teacher. He was slightly surprised by the content, but he said, "You may go," after inspecting it. Noelle nodded before walking to Nathan. Selena frowned. Even though they were not enemies anymore, her instinct was telling her to be on guard against her. "Junior. I have come as promised." Noelle gave him the paper. "This is the detail. I have handled all the formality as well as received your teacher's permission. The trip should only take about 7 days. We'll meet in the morning 3 days from now. I'll be waiting for you at the school's gate." "Oh." Nathan nodded. When he was about to grab the paper, a figure suddenly stepped between them. It was Selena. She was spreading both of her arms with sweat covering her face, not allowing Noelle to pass. For the next 3 days, Selena was very moody. Of course, she didn't say anything out of anger or behaved strangely. In fact, she continued teaching him. However, Nathan could feel her gaze was much more intense, as if she were wary of Noelle, who might come again. While looking at the mission detail Noelle gave, Fenrir asked, "What are you thinking? It seems that you haven't been happy in the last few days. Is it related to that lass?" "Why? I feel like you two have been pretty close." "Uh-huh." Nathan mumbled while staring outside the window. "From the way I see it, that girl seems to have a feeling for you." Anubis expressed his opinion with a solemn face. "I don't know. If I think about it logically, the fact that she doesn't have the support of her family despite being so talented means her relationship with her family is bad, right? I don't know what happens between them, I'm just thinking." Nathan let out a long sigh. "She switches her dependency from her family to you. Are you worried that it's not a genuine feeling but fear?" Anubis squinted his eyes. "Something like that. I know yours truly is a charming man, but I don't like to take advantage of a person like that." Nathan shrugged. "That's just me though. If..." Anubis paused for a moment as Fenrir also tilted his head to the door. Confused, Nathan turned to the door and heard several knocks on the door. When he opened it, he found Alicia holding a piece of cloth in her arms. "Alicia?" Nathan raised his eyebrows and opened the door. "Please come in. It's fine. It's not going to take long. I've heard that you are going on a mission tomorrow. The mission should be quite easy for Noelle, but it's extremely dangerous for you. I'm not planning to stop you or anything because this will be a great experience. Mistress might not come, but she entrusted this coat to me." Alicia handed the black coat that stretched to his knee. "Thank you. What is this coat? I feel like it's not something ordinary." Nathan inspected the coat. "NOVLB //JNN. Indeed. It's extremely durable and the springiness will reduce the impact a lot. After seeing how you are always beaten up, the mistress thinks this coat will be perfect for you." "Alicia. You know that your words are actually sharper than a sword from time to time, right?" "Oh my. How careless of me." Alicia chuckled but had no intention of fixing it. "Anyway, please wear this coat with you. Even though the mistress wants you to be independent, she won't leave you alone either." "Thank you. I'll definitely wear it." Nathan nodded. "I believe I don't have to tell you anything about how to perform on a mission since you are such a smart, young master. I just hope that you come back fine." "I will." Nathan smiled, assuring her. "In that case, I'll take my leave." Alicia politely bowed. As she was about to turn, she remembered another thing. "That's right. The item you requested is a bit hard to get. The mistress and others are discussing it since it's a sacred item. Please wait until they make a decision." Don't worry. Nathan waved his hand as he watched Alicia leave. The next morning, Nathan actually found Selena waiting for him near the dorm's entrance. Selena. Nathan frowned. Seeing the new coat Nathan was wearing, Selena was able to confirm what she was planning to say. At first, she wanted to tell him not to go, but she realized that Nathan would definitely not miss this opportunity. Instead, her request just might distract him during the mission. That was why Selena said, "Please be careful." Nathan looked startled for a moment before smiling. "I will. Thank you." She thought about giving something, but she had sold all her items just to escape from her family. It was actually Nathan that took out an item. "Take this." Selena tilted her head in confusion. "A crystal. If you pour your ana into it, you will roughly see the number of ana you have. Remember my test answers, right?" "Oh." Selena nodded. "Are you sure it's fine to give this to me?" "Yeah. The person who gave it to me surely wouldn't mind either." Nathan could at least trust Selena that much. In fact, he expected a great thing for her since he didn't even bother saying what she could do with it. "Thank you. I'll use this to get stronger. We both need not only cores but also materials for the next summoning. After this, let's go on a mission together. You help me, and I help you." Selena was taken aback by Nathan's suggestion. Just like when she got Lilitu, Selena smiled for the second time. "Yes." Nathan rubbed his cheek embarrassedly. "Anyway, I'll be leaving." Seeing the awkward back steeled her resolve. She summoned Risa and Sasha. "Are you sure about this? He might go forever, you know. If you want to learn the art of seduction, I can teach you a thing or two, even though it's not my specialty." Selena's expression turned solemn. "When my father was missing, my mother couldn't do anything. And it ended up making my life miserable. He is strong and unique. Even the student council has approved him. If he ends up missing, what happens to my family will repeat again. That's why it has to be both ways. For the next few days, I want you to fight me. There is something I would like to try." Risa frowned. "Are you sure? I won't hold back, you know." "You? I want both of you to fight me at the same time." Selena tied her hair into a ponytail. "Before meeting Sasha, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. But this time, I have a clear goal in mind. That's why I hope both of you can accompany me." Risa smiled while Sasha nodded her head. "Hugh." Nathan inhaled deeply, calming his heart down after teleporting to a new city. There wasn't much difference between this city and where the Phyrexia Academy resided from Nathan's perspective. The same size, a similar building, and not so different culture. Then again, this is still within the Azelia Kingdom, so I guess it's understandable. Nathan thought while looking around. Noel, who was next to him, showed the badge of the Phyrexia Academy to the guards, showing that they had a free pass to utilize the teleportation circle. After that, Noel waved her hand at Nathan, asking him to follow her. "This must be your first mission, right, Junior?" Noel asked. "Yes." "In that case, what do you think we should do after this?" Noel wanted to take this opportunity to let Nathan learn everything that could help him finish the mission. To her surprise, Nathan answered, "If I'm not wrong, our destination this time is Olena village located southwest of this city. We'll probably need a carriage since it will take about 5 hours to reach that village. If possible, we can probably ask the soldiers at the gate to tell us if there's any information about that village. After that, we'll get the information from the village chief and begin our investigation. After all, the mission only describes that a villager sees an enormous silhouette in the distance and the field is being ruined due to that alien. We have to confirm first whether or not the enemy is a mature class alien. Only after getting the information, we will strike the enemy." Nathan explained the whole process casually, stunning Noel. Of course, he was able to do it because that was what usually happened in a novel. He just gave her the outline. It seems that you have done your homework. In that case, let's head to the south gate. Noel smiled. Now that I think about it, there is a student who has figured out the hidden assignment for the forest trip. Is that you? Indeed, Nathan confirmed while walking. No wonder. Back in my day, I was lucky to find it because I got used to mingling with other knights and soldiers, so I accidentally asked the villagers. But thanks to it, I'm able to learn what I'm supposed to do from that point onward. Nathan thought for a moment. If it's not too much to ask, can I know how many familiars you have right now? I have a total of 8 familiars currently. However, 4 of them are pretty weak at my current level, so I rarely summon them anymore. It can't be helped. It is bound to happen as we progress. If you can help your familiar evolve, please do that. But don't waste too much time on it. I understand. Nathan nodded. Still, after seeing that you are able to summon beasts instead of humanoid familiars, I can't help but think that you should find a beast you can ride. Nathan understood her intention. Just like our current situation, while there are teleportation circles all around the world, we still need to travel to the exact location. Indeed. If there are familiars that can help with that, it'll be beneficial for you. So I suggest you summon your 3rd familiar for that reason. Nathan had already thought about this. He thought, well, if you know what kind of being I plan to summon next, you will probably be shocked. Of course, there was no way he could say it out loud. I'll take your suggestion to heart, n/o/vel/b/in.c//om. Well, most people are traveling that way, so you don't have to worry about that. For me, I'm asking Fred. I mean, the Dullahan to bring me around. There are people who are using harpies, angels, or other familiars with flight capability. Indeed. Flying is much faster than running. In addition, it can bypass any terrain. Nathan agreed. Yes. But please take note that you will be exposed in midair. You should find a strong beast that can fight midair as well. Are there flying aliens out there? Nathan asked. He couldn't help but think of several examples if the aliens he fought were indeed the same as its established myth. Maybe something like Nightgaunts or Bayaki. Yes. There are flying aliens. Most aliens are stopped on the front line, but there are some who manage to slip past. It's our duty to crush them, just like what we're doing on this mission. Nathan nodded. Noelle was satisfied since she didn't have to explain a lot of things to someone like Nathan, since he could draw a conclusion himself. While Nathan sorted the information he'd just got, Noelle took care of the process to leave the city. While the soldiers processed it, Noelle asked, by the way, do you know anything about Olina Village? That's our destination. Olina Village. The soldier dropped the paper in disbelief. Are you planning to go there? That reaction was weird for Noelle. Did something happen? Yesterday. A merchant coming from Olina Village's direction was attacked on the way and had to flee. He suffered a grave injury and passed away in the morning. The village's situation seemed to be extremely severe when he was there. We couldn't find out more information because he passed out. I suggest you not go there. Noelle and Nathan frowned at the same time. They exchanged looks, knowing what they should do. Thank you. We are heading there because of a request. Can you please hurry so that we can check it immediately? The soldier panicked as he rushed through the process. I understand. All are good. I have registered both of your names here. Without hesitation, Noelle stomped the ground as a black flame began to spread from her foot. What is going on? Is this familiar? A summoner. The people around the gate scrambled in fear, not knowing what happened. Noelle grabbed Nathan before leaping into the air, landing on top of the giant horse right after it appeared. Go, Freddy. We don't have a lot of time. The Dullahan didn't understand what was going on, but he immediately flapped the reins as the horse let out a cry before rushing to Olina Village, leaving all the onlookers stunned. The journey that was supposed to take a few hours ended in one. As soon as they arrived, Nathan panted heavily while holding his chest as if he wanted to puke. That was too fast. You have to get used to it. Noel looked around, getting even more concerned now that they had reached the village. Nathan squinted his eyes. Judging from the houses, the village should have close to 100 families. Yet there wasn't a single person coming out of their house as if it had been abandoned. Are there still people left here? There are. Noel nodded, noticing some pairs of eyes that took a peek through the small opening in their windows. What should we do? Nathan asked. Noel stepped forth and declared out loud. I am Noel Flamanti from the Phyrexia Academy. I'm a summoner that has been dispatched to take care of the problem. I need to meet the village chief or someone who can explain the situation. The people looked confused for a moment. On the one hand, they wanted to come out. On the other hand, they feared something. Because no one left their house, Noel started walking into the village. We'll find the village chief ourselves. Wait a minute. Nathan had an idea. My familiar can heal. Is there anyone injured? I will be able to treat you. Noel was surprised both at the offer and how a door was suddenly opened. Instead of an adult, a boy darted out of the house with a woman's voice screaming his name. Jonathan. The boy ignored his mother's warning and asked Nathan, Can you really help my father? Of course. Do you want me to help your father? n/o/vel/b/in.c/om. NHNN. Jonathan nodded furiously. How about leading me to your father so I can take a look at him? Nathan smiled. N. Jonathan hurriedly ran back, signaling to Nathan to follow him. Looking at the situation, they are afraid of something, so there must be something scary that injures people. That's why this is the best way to get some information, as well as find out about what is happening. I'm a farmer, so I know what needs to be done. That calm judgment and innovative way impressed Noel. She hurriedly followed Nathan. The boy led him to his house, which made his mother angry. At the same time, she couldn't do anything to stop Nathan and Noel. Nathan smiled. Hello, Auntie. I am Nathan, and this is my senior, Noel. Is the uncle there? He is here. Jonathan didn't wait for his mother to respond and immediately opened the door to his father's room. The wooden house wasn't big, so he could easily take a peek at the man's condition just from the small opening alone. The middle-aged man was covered in bandages. He couldn't move, but he was conscious. Hello, Uncle. My familiar can help you. Please allow him to treat you. Nathan smiled, assuring him. Why, yes. He answered weakly, his voice was hoarse. Nathan summoned Anubis, which startled the family since it was common knowledge that familiars were supposed to be humanoid. A dog. Jonathan gasped. I am no. Anubis stopped, remembering the bet was still in effect. So he ignored Jonathan's comment and focused on the middle-aged man, even though Jonathan came and hugged him. Anubis said, It's a severe injury. Can you heal him? Yeah. I might need to be a bit more serious though. Anubis approached the man and placed his paw on top of the man's stomach. Suddenly, a silver ankh appeared on top of his head. Noel hadn't seen this ankh during the fight. It seemed that Anubis hadn't gone all out in their fight. In just a few seconds of the treatment, the man's fingers had begun to move. Then his hand recovered after another few seconds. The pain is gone. The middle-aged man noticed that his throat wasn't sore anymore. I can speak again. It took Anubis 30 seconds to fully heal the man. He retracted his paw and said, It's done. You should be able to move like normal. The man followed Anubis' instructions. As he said, he could rise from his bed and move like normal, as if the wound never existed in the first place. The man gasped and fell to his knees. Even his wife and son couldn't believe it. His wife followed him while Jonathan hugged Anubis even tighter. Good doggy. Thank you very much. I don't know how to repay you. No need. Anubis harumphed before disappearing into thin air. Even though Anubis had explained to him that his healing power would actually allow a person to regain a limb, it was still amazing to find such an injury could be healed at his current power. Nathan grabbed the man and helped him up while saying, "No need to do that. We come here because we have seen the request regarding an alien that terrorizes this village. We are from the Phyrexia Academy. Can you tell us what is currently happening in this village?" "Yes." The man nodded. "It all started a week ago. We found a huge hole in our farmland, so the villagers had to take a look at the hole, but none of them came back. We sent the request for help, but the city didn't do anything. 2 days ago, 2 summoners came to this place to explore the hole. They said they came from the Dextria Academy. Because they were summoners, they asked us for a bunch of things, from food and accommodation to the girls of the village. Ahem. As a fellow summoner, I apologize for their behavior." Nathan scratched the back of his head. He loves women but would never resort to such a thing. The man shook his head. "I just want to apologize and explain the reason the villagers are afraid of summoners. They explored the giant hole yesterday but somehow ran away. Several aliens came out of the hole, and we tried our best to repel them. Several of us died while there were a lot of injured people like me. The merchant came to offer us medicine at a steep price, but another hole appeared during the night and attacked the merchant. He kneeled once again, banging his head on the floor. I know I'm shameless for asking this because we won't be able to repay you, but please. Please save other injured villagers." Village chief. The men stormed inside the biggest house in the village. "Johann. You." The village chief was a bald elderly man. He approached Johann excitedly even though he was walking with a cane. "You have recovered. How?" "There are summoners from the Phyrexia Academy, the best academy in the world. They are helping us. We need to gather all the injured men so that they can heal them as well." Village chief. Please allow them to use this house to help other injured men. Phyrexia Academy. The village chief's body shook, noticing the people who were standing outside the house. The village chief immediately passed him while saying, "What are you doing? Why haven't you brought them in?" Johann was speechless because the village chief immediately came out. "Two esteemed guests. I apologize for making you stand outside. Please don't mind about it." Nathan smiled. "If possible, we would like to ask for your cooperation." Of course, of course." The village chief nodded. "Johann. You bring them here." "Yes." Johann rushed out, not wanting to let anyone die because he moved too slowly. "Please come in." The village chief extended his hand. The entire village became lively again as Nathan asked, "Village chief. We'd like to ask for more information regarding these aliens." "Yes. I'll tell you everything I know. First of all, we have heard the brief explanation for everything, but we'd like to hear in detail regarding the alien as well as the people from the Dextria Academy." He nodded and began his explanation. In the meantime, more and more people were brought into the house as sheets were laid everywhere. After knowing about the situation, Nathan ended it with one last question. "Where are the 2 holes?" NOVLB //JNN. "They are in that direction." The village chief pointed in 2 directions before saying, "I'll let someone accompany you. It'll be dangerous, so please stay in the village for the time being." Nathan rejected his suggestion before summoning Anubis. "Can you handle everything here? I'll be investigating the farm. I should be able to remain in this world as long as you are within 200 meters, 656 feet from me." Anubis nodded. "In that case, you should be able to reach the farm." The village chief paused as he saw who actually spoke. "Wait, a dog." Anubis' eyebrows twitched as he shouted, "Shut up, human." If you don't, I'm not going to heal your leg as well. What? The village chief was so shocked that he fell on his back together with the chair. The reason you use a cane is because of the injury on your knee, not old age. I can fix it. I'll heal you first, so make sure you serve me so that I can heal the others as well. Why, yes. The village chief's expression brightened. In that case, we'll take our leave. Nathan nodded. Anubis' power truly amazed him. If Anubis returned to his peak, he would be able to grow limbs, cure sickness, or heal all kinds of physical wounds. It was no wonder why the Ankh represents eternal life, physical life, death, and reincarnation. As long as one hadn't died, Anubis might allow them to undergo a rebirth if he returned to his peak state. Nathan and Noel walked to the farm. Nathan asked, I've been meaning to ask this, but who is the Dextria Academy? Dextria Academy is a 4th-ranked academy located in the south of the Blacksmith Guild. They are not good but not bad either. Then again, some of our students are still like that, especially those from noble families. Noel sighed. We have rules about our behaviors, right? Yeah. That's why I'm chosen for my position. If someone is too weak to possess this position, those people will become unruly. Ah. It's no wonder why people said you are overseeing the academy with an iron fist. Not that I'm proud of it. After all, I make a lot of enemies because I have to do that. Noel let out a long sigh. That sounds like a hassle. Nathan chuckled but stopped right away as they had reached the farm. There was a wheat field in front of them. The wheat had been crushed as if they were trampled by tens of aliens, and the soil was crushed. As the village chief said, there was a huge hole in the middle of the field. What do you think, Junior? Can you figure out what happened here? Noel asked. I think. But there is something I'd like to ask first. How many aliens are we supposed to fight? I don't know. The request states only a huge alien, so this is actually a bit concerning. A huge alien can actually carry multiple aliens on top or inside of it. Hence, the number might be above your imagination. Nathan frowned. If that's the case, I'm thinking that we are supposed to worry about 3 things. The first is definitely that hole, and the alien that creates that hole. Looking at such a perfect hole, the alien must look like a worm. Then, the second will be the number of its underlings. If we miss even one of them, they will devastate the village once we leave here. Noel nodded in agreement, thinking the same. What about the third? The third is this one. Nathan walked to the area where the wheat was cut cleanly instead of snapping from being trampled. This had been crushed as well, but it was clear there was something else. This cut is clean, and because this is not the harvest time yet, it must be an alien. To be this different, the alien must be unique or smart. The former is dangerous, while the latter means there is a chance of a juvenile class alien in the mix. Noel was amazed by Nathan's assessment. Normally, they would only gain this kind of perception when they were in their 3rd years, but Nathan was special. She thought she could ask him everything, which, in turn, allowed her to teach Nathan. But there was no need to do it anymore. She changed her decision and stated, Junior. For this mission, I'm giving you the opportunity to take the lead. I want you to think about the plan and order me however you want. Solve this problem. Do you accept the challenge? Nathan smiled because Noel had recognized him. If he increased his favorability even more, Noel might also protect him. He thought, he. I have read all kinds of novels to the point where I know that the discipline hall or something will always be a problem. That's why I want it myself. With a nod, Nathan said, I understand. I will take this opportunity to learn a lot. All right then. What do you want to do for the first step? Noel asked to test him. Nathan raised a finger. I need a familiar to scout. The hole. If we're going into the hole, it'll be better to bring everyone and get ready to fight. And we will also need some stuff like a torch. No. I just want to scout the area around here, maybe finding a trace that the villagers haven't seen yet. They are isolating themselves in their houses, so they might not venture that far. Nathan summoned Fenrir. I'll be sending him. What? Your nose is sharp, right? Just find a trace of an alien out there. Even if they can hide their trance, they can't hide their smell, explained Nathan. That should be possible. It seems that stupid dog is in the village. Yep. How far can you explore? How far can he go? Fenrir replied with another question. Nathan knew where he was going. He must not want to lose against Anubis. Well, whatever. Just go. Before Fenrir left, Noelle summoned her familiar. Bring her with you. She should be able to find the trace as well. I'll remain here in case the aliens suddenly come out of this place. n/o/vel/b/in.c//om. The familiar that Noelle summoned was actually a dark elf. Nathan widened his eyes in surprise. The dark elf gave out a different vibe compared to Alicia. She was wearing a crop top and skirt, exposing as much skin as possible. There was a robe that covered her back and a hood to cover her head, but there was nothing much other than it to lighten herself as much as possible. If Alicia gave a gentle and bright atmosphere, this dark elf exuded an enchanting aura. Damn. When I thought that getting into this world would be romantic for me, I'm actually stuck with, thought Nathan while glancing at Fenrir. What? Brat. You're thinking about something rude, aren't you? Fenrir's eyebrows twitched, fully knowing the character of his summoner. Wait a minute. That's not entirely true as well. If Fenrir is actually turning humanoid like a man with a wolf's ears and tail, won't he be handsome? While I can try to summon female familiars, I still have the chance to get a rival who is more handsome than me. On the other hand, because I'm stuck with only divine beasts, doesn't that mean I won't need to worry about a rival? Is this task failed successfully example? Nathan smiled. Oi! That smile didn't escape Fenrir's eyes. Nothing. I'm just thinking you're perfect the way you are. Nathan gave a thumbs up. Tisk. Fenrir clicked his tongue and started exploring with the dark elf. By the way, how far can your familiar go? Nathan asked. I think your beasts are the weird ones, Junior. My range is actually lower than yours. In fact, the current record for the summoning is 5 kilometers, 3.1 miles. That is because he is overwhelming. Other top summoners like our principal and vice principal only have a range of 500 to 1,000 meters, 0.3 to 0.6 mile. Is that so? But can't we increase our range over time? Indeed, but normally, people of your level only have a fourth of your range. Nathan might be able to use this information in the future, but for the time being, he asked, I need your advice. I want to venture into the hole, but there's a high chance the aliens will attack the villagers. We have no way of stopping them. What do you mean? Do you remember that they told us the summoners from the Dextria Academy ran away and caused the aliens to appear? I'm assuming that the aliens have made their nest underground. If we go, we might end up facing them inside their nest. So you're assuming that because there are 2 holes, there is a high chance that they'll attack from another hole. That's why you send your familiar to make sure there are no other holes. Yes. Noelle crossed her arms. If I have to say, according to my experience, it's better to split up. I'll enter the hole while you remain near the village. We don't have the manpower to guard the village or move them to safety. But Noelle fell silent. The purpose of this trip was for Nathan to gain experience. If they split up, it would just defeat the purpose. She faced a dilemma. Seeing that reaction allowed Nathan to make a decision. In that case, let's do it this way. 15 minutes later. Anubis had regrouped with them as they toured outside the village, searching for the trace of aliens. However, other than the 2 holes, they found nothing. Nathan chose to stay inside the village and actually do nothing. Noel watched him getting along with the villagers and listening to their story, as if he were trying to gather more information from each villager. But Nathan's real plan started at night. While they were given a place to stay due to the kindness they had shown, it didn't change the fact that the village couldn't continue living this way for a long time. If they couldn't produce anything, they wouldn't have food to eat. Hence, Nathan wanted to finish this mission as quickly as possible. After most people slept, Noel and Nathan returned to the wheat field. Please take care. I'm sure it's going to be dangerous. This is just to scout the enemy. As long as we know about their numbers and the location of their nest, please pull out immediately. But if you're unable to do anything within 15 minutes, you have to come back since it means the underground tunnel is extremely long or complicated. Got it. Noel nodded as she jumped into the hole with a torch. As soon as Noel left, Nathan's expression turned serious. He didn't have the power to fight against the mature class, but there was still one thing he could do. Nathan had intentionally hidden one thing from Noel. He returned to the village instead of waiting outside as he muttered, I forget which novel it is, but there is something that I can do to lure them out. He gathered a bunch of wheat, and asked Fenrir and Anubis to carry them to the other hole. He tossed them inside before lighting them up on fire, allowing the smoke to spread inside the second tunnel. A moment ago. So what are we doing with all these wheats? Fenrir asked while carrying a pile of wheat on his back, as well as carrying a lot more with the rope attached to his body. We'll burn it inside the hole. Don't worry. I have received permission from the villagers to use the wheats however we want. In the end, they have been crushed like this and there's no way to eat or sell them. The best way is to use it to exterminate the aliens. A cunning smile appeared on Nathan's face. You seem to be inclined to help others, Summoner. I thought you were colder. Anubis squinted his eyes. I am not a good person. Just like anyone else, I'm someone who is wearing a mask. Facing innocent people, I can be as kind as you want. But if I treat my enemy the same, they will think it'll be fine to attack me again and again since I won't kill them. That's why I'll probably become a cruel person when facing my enemy, whether they're humans or aliens. Nathan shook his head helplessly. Anubis felt chills all over his body when Nathan said he would become a cruel person. I have read a lot of stories where I'm frustrated by the main character letting go of his enemy, which results in him getting attacked by the same person, but with an additional person, who would lead to another problem. So if I let go of my enemy, think of it as either they are still having some use, or I intend to let them bring that kind of person, not that I'm letting them trample me. I see. Anubis nodded in understanding. Well, I would slap him if he loses himself after gaining strength. The slap that he taught me personally. It would be a good practice before slapping those people from Asgard. Fenrir grinned. Nathan's eyebrows twitched as if wanting Fenrir to keep that to himself instead of letting Anubis know, lest he join. It didn't take long for them to reach the second hole. Nathan tossed everything they brought into the hole, and threw the torch on top. Nathan muttered, 12 minutes. NOVLB //JNN. According to you, the aliens come from the Lovecraft series, right? Do you know what kind of alien we're currently facing? Fenrir asked, while looking at the burning hole. The only alien I can think of is actually a dhole. It's a massive, worm-like creature. Even though I know this alien, I can't really recall much of its information. Nevertheless, they are colossal and extremely dangerous, burrowing through the earth or other materials. So you're filling the hole with smoke so that you can lure it out? Fenrir frowned. Of course not. The worm is most likely able to survive in an extreme condition with little to no oxygen. In addition, if they really fuse with the symbiote, their resistance will increase even further. Then why? Fenrir's eyebrows twitched, feeling annoyed. I'm not aiming for that worm. My real targets are the proto-class aliens. Scree. There were multiple screeching noises and screams, as though the aliens were communicating. Their voices were so loud that they echoed through the tunnel all the way to the opening. Nathan smiled and started moving back, gaining some distance so that they could react. An alien suddenly emerged from the hole, and looked around as if trying to find an enemy that did all this to them. The moment it saw Nathan, the alien let out an otherworldly clicking noise from inside their body, which caused other aliens to respond in kind. The aliens started to come out of the hole one after another. Fenrir and Anubis gnashed their teeth, ready to fight. However, there were simply too many aliens. From what they could see, 40 aliens had already come out, and their number was still increasing. This was already beyond their capability. Even if they could survive, they were worried about Nathan. To their surprise, Nathan remained still without a hint of panic. He only muttered, 20 seconds. With a loud screeching sound, the aliens rushed toward Nathan simultaneously. We have to retreat. Their number is too much for you. Fenrir warned. Nathan would die if he didn't heed the warning, yet he actually smiled. Brah, Fenrir wanted to get angry but soon noticed an incoming presence from the left. That presence moved so fast that she arrived first before the alien. Yes, it was Noelle. Her hand was already on the blade's handle. After taking a glance at the number of aliens, Noelle drew her blade, releasing the same crescent-shaped sword strike she used to greet Nathan. The aliens tried to avoid it, but most of them failed as the sword strike split them in two. Nathan couldn't help but smile as he muttered, 15 minutes. Fenrir and Anubis widened their eyes. Nathan had never planned to fight those aliens by himself. He wanted to fight some, and let Noelle take care of the rest. What would the response of that mature class alien to Nathan's action be? It was obvious the alien would actually leave its nest. Bam! The ground collapsed as a giant, worm-like alien emerged from the hole. It was extending to 30 meters, 98 feet, into the air. The mouth was pointing at the moon as the lips opened in all four directions, showing its massive teeth. The moon illuminated the alien as if a flower had just bloomed. Loud chittering noises soon broke the silence of the night. As Nathan expected, the mature class alien would appear while he was left with 15 proto-class aliens. It was a lot but still manageable for Nathan and his two familiars. However, Nathan made one miscalculation. He couldn't help but turn to the left, looking at the mature class alien. Wait! You're supposed to come from this hole, not the one in the wheat field. Or so he thought. There was a shadow moving between the trees. It was a bit far from their position, so even Fenrir didn't pick up the presence. The shadow was observing them from the darkness while letting out a small but repeating clicking sound from its body. Well, there are a lot of them. I will take care of 8 of them. You can get the rest. Fenrir smirked. You are too full of yourself to think that you're able to fight all 8 of them at once. It'll be my job. What? I can even do 9 of them. I can do 10. Nathan's eyebrows twitched as he couldn't help but say, you guys don't forget that I'm here, right? The two completely ignored him, to the point where their bragging became out of control. I will eliminate 16 of them. There are only 15. You're stupid. The aliens obviously didn't care about their argument. After regaining their composure from Noelle's blade, they started running toward them. Enough. Each of us gets 5. Kill them first and help me later. Nathan raised his voice. Both of them were glaring at each other, but because of Nathan's decision, they harumphed and started choosing their own opponent. Nathan shook his head helplessly and started running. Anubis took the left while Fenrir took the right, leaving the aliens in the middle for Nathan. Because these two were too fast, some aliens ended up coming their way. It was probably because they wanted it that way. To avoid it from happening, Nathan immediately formed 4 weak bullets on his palm. He shot 4 aliens in rapid succession. Even though the bullets didn't do much damage to the aliens, the latter still shifted their focus to Nathan. Only the one at the very center didn't change its direction. Nathan used deadly claw on both hands, trying to gather them in the middle. However, two aliens leaped to the sides and put their bodies in the way to block the deadly claw. The other three approached Nathan head-on and sped up, closing the gap between them in less than a second. He didn't know whether it was because of the fight against Noel or something else, but these aliens were not scary anymore. In fact, their movements appeared to be slower than usual. He jumped back to avoid the aliens from pouncing on him, but that just made the aliens delay their jump. Nathan pointed his finger at the one in the middle, shooting the bullet. The proto-class alien put its arm in front, blocking the bullet. However, the bullet's penetrative power was enough to pierce through the alien's arm and hit a part of its head. The damage caused to the head made the alien trip before sliding on the ground. Nathan could finally focus on the two aliens next to it. By putting a shield made of Aina, he blocked the alien from the left. Meanwhile, his body turned to the right as he caught the alien's punch before punching the alien's jaw himself, knocking it away. The alien the barrier stopped earlier looped around, but it was too late. Nathan had used the deadly claws on both hands. The alien blocked them with its arms, but they were not enough. The deadly claws sliced the alien into pieces. There were two more aliens that put their bodies to stop his deadly claw earlier. They were approaching Nathan from two sides. At the same time, the one he punched earlier had gotten back up, surrounding Nathan. Suddenly, an alien crashed into the one on the right. Meanwhile, the one on the left was bound by bandages, which left only one alien coming for him. Nathan focused both his deadly claw on the one in front of him, killing it. Nathan raised his head, finding Fenrir and Anubis finishing the last two aliens on their sides. "Guys, you're worrying too much. I can handle it myself." Nathan sighed. It seemed that Anubis had the same trait as Fenrir, who helped him after fighting the juvenile class. They didn't say anything as they focused on killing the aliens in front of them before helping Nathan at the same time. "What? You guys are ignoring me. You know, you guys are known as Tsundere." Nathan shook his head helplessly as he managed to kill the injured alien with another shot in the head, but that was all he got. "It seems that we are done here," said Nathan while glancing at the side. He saw Noelle's silhouette jumping into the sky, waving her blade. The worm-like alien turned its head to devour her, but Noelle's blade stretched forward in crescent-shaped shape, cutting its lips. Scree! The alien was screaming in pain as the four lips turned into six due to that attack. Noelle didn't stop there. She reached the alien's body and started swinging her blade to injure the alien as much as possible while falling. Nathan couldn't help but furrow her eyebrows. Noelle should be quite strong, right? Is she unable to one-shot the mature class alien? But she is overwhelming it. She is probably waiting for you. She wants to show you more about the fight, so that it will give you a good understanding about the level you should surpass when you reach the third, Fenrir was explaining before he suddenly sensed an ominous presence. He hurriedly turned around as Anubis also regrouped with Fenrir, staring in the same direction. They could see an alien walking toward them from a distance. A proto-class alien that comes out a bit too late. Anubis frowned. "No. It's a juvenile class, but why do I feel like it's much stronger than a juvenile class?" Fenrir frowned. "You should prepare for this, you stupid dog. Our summoner's bad luck is something you can't measure." The juvenile class alien looked like a mix between a human and a beast. It had the shape of a beast, whether it was its limbs or body, but the alien was able to walk on 2 feet. The alien suddenly let out a scream before rushing toward them. Fenrir took this opportunity to come forward while Anubis remained on Nathan's side. Fenrir gathered his Aina around his paw before pouncing on him, while the alien made a punching motion. However, the veins on the alien's arm suddenly moved, and the cell suddenly grew a curved blade from its arm. Fenrir was taken aback by the sudden change in the alien's form as the blade struck him. Zap! Zap! The sharp blade hit Fenrir, actually breaking through his super durability and slashing his body. Still, the super durability managed to withstand the blade from cutting any further. Fenrir struck the alien's fist with his paw and exploded that violent ana on his paw to launch himself away. Anubis was already activating his ability. At this moment, both of them didn't argue anymore. Both divine beasts recognized this alien as something they had never seen before. If they were careless against it, they would die. What is that? Nathan frowned, staring at a huge curved blade that emerged from the alien's arm. Is that the power of symbiote? The symbiote can't do such a thing unless a mutant. Fenrir had fought against a mutant before, but he was able to overwhelm him. The fact that Fenrir would be injured like this meant the alien was actually stronger than the previous mutant. A juvenile class mutant? Nathan gasped. His teacher had told him that if he met a mutant, he should get away. Currently, both Fenrir and Anubis were as strong as a juvenile class alien. His teacher said that 3 summoners ended up dying to a mutant of the same level, so he should actually run away from this mutant. At the same time, he couldn't help but furrow his eyebrows. Should he? Seeing Fenrir's wound starting to close, the alien hurriedly chased after Fenrir. The latter leaped into the air, gathering his breath in his throat. Whaff! Fenrir let out his signature bark, shooting out his ana. However, the mutant actually waved its blade and cut Fenrir's attack. Fenrir pounced on him, stopping both aliens' arms with his own paws. The mutant noticed that it couldn't overpower Fenrir, so it changed its approach. Before he could do something, a bullet suddenly hit the alien's neck, piercing through its throat. The alien only glanced at Nathan as the wound was healing at a speed visible to the naked eye. Anubis covered the alien's body with his bandage from behind. With their combined efforts, Fenrir managed to push it down to the ground. Do it! Fenrir shouted as he kept pinning the alien to the ground. Nathan approached the alien, using his deadly claw to hit the enemy from a distance. To his surprise, the blade on the alien's left arm suddenly returned to the body, using all that cell to actually extend the blade on its right arm. That blade blocked the deadly claw as it continued to extend toward Fenrir. Fenrir was forced to jump away from the alien. Anubis tried to hold the alien with his bandages, but it started overpowering him, so he also had no choice but to pull back. The alien swung the giant blade, somehow extending even further to the point where Fenrir was forced to jump even further away. The alien even spun its body to reach Anubis and Nathan, but fortunately, those two were outside its range. What is the limit of that blade? The cell on its body is generating that blade, but the longer the blade, the thinner it becomes. Fenrir's expression turned grim when it noticed the alien's intention. The spin allowed the alien to see Nathan and Anubis. Seeing that Fenrir was the one who had been actively fighting it, the alien planned to go for those two. Anubis hurriedly intercepted the alien, dragged its body to the ground. Both of them were wrestling on the ground, the alien's blade still long enough to almost reach Nathan. Nathan's heart skipped a beat. Fenrir caught up and hit the alien with his tail, slashing the alien's chest. The alien rolled a few times but immediately stood up, its wound regenerating at high speed. Anubis returned to his position, ensuring Nathan's safety. On the other hand, Nathan noticed the hidden danger the alien possessed. This can't go on. We can't fight in this place. Nathan looked around as if searching for something. His eyes suddenly focused in one direction. Anubis, follow me. Nathan started running. Are we going to run again? While it's effective, I don't really like this tactic. Anubis had experienced the effectiveness, but he wasn't like Fenrir, who was free to learn everything. In fact, it was probably because of his father, god of mischief, that Fenrir didn't find the tactic repulsive. Nathan shouted, "No. We are not running away." Anubis squinted his eyes. He had told him he would trust Nathan's decision, so he hurriedly chased after him, hoping Nathan didn't lie to him. The mutant tilted its head to the side, noticing Nathan's sudden movement. "What are you looking at?" Fenrir grinned and slapped the alien's face, and launched it away. The alien bounced a few times on the ground, but it soon regained its balance and chased after Nathan and Anubis. Fenrir followed right after, but neither Fenrir nor Anubis knew where Nathan was going. It looked like he was running away, but he actually chose to enter the forest the alien came from. Nathan halted his step and shot at the alien. The alien easily blocked it with the mutated blade. This was an opportunity for Anubis to grab the blade with his bandages, wrapping it. After that, Anubis bit the blade, taking advantage of the bandage to avoid getting cut. His job was just to stop the alien for a second as Fenrir caught up and smacked the alien from behind. The alien crashed into several trees, only stopping when it hit the fourth one. The alien's head was deformed slightly due to Fenrir's extraordinary attack. Meanwhile, Anubis could finally see why Nathan was running into this forest. When the alien was gone from his sight, his view was opened, allowing him to see the village in the distance. That was right. They were fighting slightly too close to the village earlier. It would probably be fine with the proto-class aliens, since they weren't that smart. But what if the mutant targeted the villagers? He chose to fight the battle here so that the alien wouldn't harm the villagers in desperation. Bam! The alien cut down several times, opening up the battlefield. Their true battle had just begun. Nathan sucked a cold breath after seeing Anubis attack earlier. What? Anubis tilted his head in confusion. Nothing. Nathan shook his head, but that attack actually inspired him to do something. The alien came again, swinging its 3 meters, 10 feet, blade, cutting down the tree in its path. Fenrir struck the blade with all his strength while Anubis bound the blade, stopping it. After that, Fenrir tried to push down the blade so that the alien's body would fall down following the blade. Sadly, the alien had noticed his intention and started retracting the blade, shifting his cell to the other side to make 2 blades instead of 1. Fenrir pounced on the alien. Because Anubis was there, Fenrir allowed the blade to hit his left side. He was bleeding, but he endured it. Fenrir stopped the other arm with all his strength and bit the shoulder, trying to rip it apart. Before he succeeded, the alien spun its body to put Fenrir on the bottom, but before he could make a complete turn, Anubis wrapped his body to stop its momentum while Nathan used Deadly Claw. The alien managed to block the Deadly Claw with its arm, but the claws pierced through its skin. If the Deadly Claw was just a bit stronger, Nathan would have cut that arm. Without hesitation, Nathan approached the alien because the latter was trying to stab Fenrir. Nathan wrapped the blade with the coat and pulled it. As Alicia said, the coat's quality was superb. Even the blade of a mutant wasn't enough to cut it. As a result, Nathan could pull the blade, holding it for a moment. Fenrir took that opportunity to slap the alien hard, banging its head to the ground. The alien changed its target to Nathan, which caused Nathan's balance to shift, ultimately letting go of his coat. Oh shit! Nathan gritted his teeth as the blade hit him on the arm. The coat was able to block it so that the blade didn't cut his arm, but the blade still reached his chest, cutting both his uniform and flesh. Fenrir hit the alien's head even harder to knock it down, but the alien simply tossed Fenrir away. Fenrir managed to land smoothly while Anubis had been healing both Fenrir and Nathan at the same time. The alien stood up and extended all its cells into a single blade and tried to reach Nathan. Anubis had pulled him back with his bandage, and Fenrir closed in and bit the alien's arm. His teeth pierced through the alien's flesh, almost ripping it apart. Unexpectedly, the alien showed something new. Instead of the lower arm, the alien actually extended a blade on its upper arm. Fenrir picked up the danger with his instinct, but the blade still stabbed him, cutting a bit of his flesh. If not for his quick reaction, he would have lost a foot. Nathan shot the alien on the head, but the alien still didn't die. It kept recovering, like how Nathan and Fenrir did. If this continued, Anubis Aina would have run out first. Despite his injury, Fenrir continued his relentless attack, not letting the alien get another opportunity. Meanwhile, Nathan bit his lips, thinking, this is a mutant alien. I understand how a mutant can defeat 3 full-fledged summoners. Should we run as well? Should I buy time until Noel is done? The alien suddenly cut down the tree, and kicked the trunk toward Anubis and Nathan. Fenrir was a bit too late in stopping it. Nathan used the deadly claw to cut the tree, and Anubis launched the rest away with his bandage. However, this was just a distraction. The alien stabbed the tree stump, pulled it out of the ground and tossed it right after. Nathan got hit by the tree stump with enough force to blow him away. Anubis hurriedly healed him, while Fenrir pounced on the alien again. Nathan gritted his teeth, while clutching his chest. What? It can even make an attack like that? This alien is too smart. No. Rather than smart, should I say they have the ability to learn? If they actually learn from humans, no from us, won't the situation become even more problematic? We have to kill the alien before it can grow even further. Nathan smiled wryly. Someone is going to be mad, but I guess I have to do it. Anubis looked worried, but Nathan passed Anubis as though he was still planning to challenge the alien. Anubis. Is there anyone watching us? No. Anubis glanced left and right, using his senses to scan the area. Then, do you trust me? Nathan asked. Yes. The moment he answered, a contract suddenly appeared between them. The agreement was simple. Anubis lent Nathan his super strength for 1 day in exchange for 10 aina. Nathan bit his finger and used the blood to stamp on the contract. Anubis was startled but trusted Nathan's plan. When he was about to use his paw to sign, he noticed the alien coming. It seemed that the alien was aware of Nathan's action and chose to eliminate him first. Trust me. Nathan shouted when he saw Anubis about to stop the alien, instead of signing the contract. Anubis' body shook as he shifted his focus back on the contract. He signed it as quickly as possible, but it was too late. The moment the soul contract took effect and Nathan turned around, the alien was already in front of him. The alien waved its blade from above, but Nathan managed to take a step backward and lean his body, barely avoiding the blade. The alien didn't give up. It thrust its blade this time, not letting Nathan go. Anubis wanted to help, but he was a bit too slow. Summoner. Anubis shouted. The blade pierced through the side of Nathan's stomach. Nathan suddenly wrapped the blade with his coat and grabbed the blade with both hands. This time, his strength was amplified by Anubis' super strength. Despite blood leaking out of his wound and lips, Nathan smiled. I got you. I got you. Anubis and Fenrir widened their eyes, seeing Nathan's reckless plan. The alien tried to move the blade up and down, but to no avail. It was trying to pull it out, but Nathan still firmly held it. Hence, there was only one thing to do. The alien planned to use the other blade to kill Nathan, but Fenrir suddenly bit its arm. Because the alien didn't expect it, Fenrir ripped the arm apart. Scree. The alien was screaming. After that, Nathan took a step back and pulled the blade out, allowing the alien to move again, but Nathan's plan had succeeded. He pointed his palm at the alien. I haven't mastered it, but I can use it to a certain extent. Nathan formed the torrential sphere he learned from Selena. He couldn't use it as his bullet yet, but he could still explode it. The burst of Aina knocked back the alien and himself. The alien hurriedly stood up, ready to wave his blade at whoever approached him. Anubis stopped the blade for a second with his bandage. Meanwhile, Nathan pressed the wound with one hand and released the deadly claw from another hand. The deadly claw hit the alien's neck as nothing could block it anymore. However, the claw was too weak to fully cut the neck. Tisk. Nathan clicked his tongue. Unfortunately, his condition didn't allow him to use both hands. No. We won. Seeing such an attack, Fenrir immediately leaped into the air and pressed the deadly claw, giving the necessary power to cut the alien's neck. Nathan panted heavily, his face turning pale. They had won against a juvenile class mutant. He had grown much stronger compared to when he was in Tevlin Forest. Anubis was also here, but to think that he had to resort to this kind of strategy just to kill the mutant, Nathan could only sigh. Nathan dropped to his knees as Anubis hurriedly covered the wound with his bandage, barely stopping the bleeding. After that, he poured all his Aina into the healing ability. He was frustrated because what Nathan said regarding trust was him risking his life. Fenrir was also annoyed, but more importantly, he was angry at himself. Nathan might be reckless, naive, or even horny, but he wasn't a fool. The fact that he did such a thing must mean it was necessary. Why did you do that? While enduring the pain, Nathan changed his position a bit and sat down on the ground. He kept inhaling and exhaling his breath loudly. The mutant could learn. Learn? Fenrir squinted his eyes. Are you saying that you had no choice but to kill the mutant right away? Yeah. Nathan nodded. Fenrir couldn't help but become even angrier to himself. If that truly happened, the situation would become much worse. If they couldn't kill the alien before Anubis' Aina ran out, they might have to run away. With such intelligence, the alien could choose the villagers, forcing Nathan to stop it. Ultimately, they would lose to the alien. If he was just a bit stronger, Nathan wouldn't be injured. It is a mutant for a reason. Nathan took a deep breath. To think that this is just a low-level alien. What if the big boys are coming to this world? We're going to be screwed. That won't happen. Fenrir harumphed. I'll beat them. Fenrir realized he should get stronger as quickly as possible. If more Aina wasn't an available option yet, he had to find a new technique. Even Anubis understood what he was supposed to do. Unlike Fenrir, who could focus on his attack, he had to protect Nathan and heal people. He had to find another way to attack the enemy, or at least make Nathan stronger to the point where he didn't need his protection. Nathan smiled. They were not the only ones frustrated. He, too, had to face his teacher's anger after going back with his clothes dyed in blood. Nathan thought for a moment. We have to get even stronger. Currently, we have two options. We should get stronger at an individual level. Only by having high prowess will we be able to defeat them without using such a dangerous trick, Fenrir added right away, as if reprimanding Nathan not to make them worry again. Meanwhile, Anubis' opinion differed from his. I believe that a third partner will be necessary. We can outnumber the opponent, and if there is someone who can help us in the battle, I can support all three of you. Of course, depending on how much Aina you have, it's also good to sacrifice more Aina for us. Nathan scratched the back of his head. Well, I'm more inclined to the second option. What? You're going to summon another one so quickly? Do you have the items or Aina to sacrifice? And are you going to follow the suggestion of that lass and summon a flying beast? Fenrir frowned. I, too, would like to know what divine beast you have in mind, summoner. Anubis agreed with Fenrir. Nathan smiled. If I want a flying beast, it is obviously the strongest flying beast out there. Then again, I have to consider the items. I believe I can get one of them, so I only need another one. At least, this is much better than any other divine beasts. That's why for the next one, I'll be summoning a dragon from your myth, Fenrir. Mistress. The divine spirit came to Vivian with a solemn expression. What's wrong? Vivian frowned. We'll give him the item he requested. Ho! Are you sure? Vivian crossed her arms. Yes. The Dryad, the old Druid, and the High Elf have agreed. The divine spirit nodded. I see. I'm really thankful that you four are willing to give him that item. Let's just say that this is an investment to him. In the future, we might request his help. The divine spirit put down a briefcase on the table. This is the item. Vivian nodded. I understand. I'll be telling him about it. Alicia. Yes. Alicia nodded before bowing to the divine spirit. I'm honored to be the messenger of the divine spirit, the Dryad of the divine tree, the sage Druid, and the almighty High Elf Queen. I'll be giving this divine tree's root to the young master. Noelle could hear the loud scream of an alien. She couldn't help but think, is he struggling against those aliens? No. Based on his strength, he should have eliminated them by now. The worm-like alien plunged toward her, forcing Noelle to jump away. She was a bit distracted, but fortunately, the worm wasn't as strong as she imagined. Is he struggling against another alien? A juvenile class? It has been a few minutes, something more than a juvenile class. Don't tell me, is there another mature class alien? Noelle's heart skipped a beat. If there was indeed one, Nathan wouldn't be able to defeat it with his trick. I have to take down the enemy right now. He might not last longer. Noelle gritted her teeth and stomped the ground as she summoned yet another familiar. The alien bounced on the ground, trying to devour her. However, this figure appeared out of thin air and slashed the worm, extending his blade with his own ana. The blade slashed through the worm's flesh. His body was fully covered in armor, but as if showing his dignity and identity, there was a golden crown on top of his helmet. He put his shield in front while retracting his blade, as though he were ready to release another strike. With a deep voice, the familiar asked, "For what reason do you little lass summon me despite trying not to summon me for over 3 months? I need to kill this alien as quickly as possible." You are in a hurry. Who is actually important enough for you to be in this hurry? After all, the last time you were in a hurry was when you summoned me, causing an incomplete summon. Because of you, I couldn't bring my partner. The guy raised his shield and expanded it with his ana. The worm had recovered and tried to break apart the ana, but to no avail. It only pushed the guy back for a bit, but nothing else. I know you don't like me, but please shut up and help me. You will know about it later. The familiar fell silent for a moment before saying, "Fine by me. I shall help you kill this worm. I promise you in my name as one of the 72 demons, Duke Murmur. Follow me." As soon as Murmur finished his words, he retracted his shield and moved to the right side of the worm. Noelle approached the worm from the other side. Both of them covered their swords with ana and extended their blades, striking at the worm at the same time. Their blade wouldn't be long enough to cut the worm by themselves, but with one on the right and the other on the left, the required length to cut the alien was reduced greatly. The worm flapped its body violently, not letting these two cut its body into two. Murmur had been using less ana compared to Noelle, which caused the worm to instinctively think he was weaker. As a result, the worm spun its body toward Murmur. Murmur stomped the ground and expanded the shield once again, blocking the entire body. Once stopped, Noelle took this opportunity to wave her sword downward, unleashing the long crescent sword strike to cut a part of the worm's body. Obviously, the top part seemed to be regenerating due to the symbiote, but the crown on top of Murmur's head released a purple glow as he pointed his hand at the cut area. Death Seal. The purple glow moved like a shock wave, causing the alien's body to rot instead of regenerating. After that, both of them continued cutting the worm. The latter struggled, but it couldn't dig into the ground as the mouth hadn't regenerated. Hence, Noelle and Murmur cut the worm piece by piece. They kept applying the death seal to lock its regenerative trait, allowing them to fully kill the worm. Murmur said, "Your swordsmanship has improved tremendously compared to 3 months ago. However, it's still lacking in power and control. If you keep progressing at this rate, it won't be long for you to surpass me in swordsmanship. Despite not summoning me, you seem to have learned my swordsmanship. I guess you're too embarrassed to admit that my technique is superior. However, don't forget your debt to me. You have to fix the summoning and allow me to bring my partner. If you can do that, I will allow you to utilize my power as much as you like." Murmur grinned. Noelle's expression remained cold. This was the reason she didn't want to rely on his power, but the condition forced her to end the battle as quickly as possible. She said, "I know that, but I have no time for this." Without hesitation, she turned around and left the worm's corpse as if it were nothing. Murmur glanced at her and muttered, "She is still too rash. She has made such a mistake when summoning me. I can't help but wonder what mistake she will make later." And whoever is able to move her this much, slightly piques my interest. Before following Noel, Murmur clapped his hand. The crown glowed once again, this time the shock wave flying in all directions. Pray for the fallen. Take your eternal rest, my enemy, Murmur muttered as the corpse started to rot. It wouldn't take too long for them to be reduced to nothing but the core. Still, if he didn't go, he would disappear due to the distance. I should go too. Murmur chased after Noel. She was standing in front of a boy with two beasts beside him. Looking at the environment, it was clear that there was a battle in this place before. In fact, the blood-dyeing Nathan's clothes was already a testament to how dangerous the enemy was. Despite not looking strong, it was impressive that Nathan was able to defeat all of these aliens. However, his focus was taken by the black jackal next to him, sensing a familiar power coming from him. On the other hand, Noel said while clenching her hands, realizing it was her mistake. Let's go back.